Poptropica came out all the way back in 2007. It was set at an all-time high, coming out with a book about how to beat the different islands in 2011. During that time, this game pretty much reached peak popularity with 75 million registered users, which was pretty outstanding for what was, at the time, a really small development team. As an old fan of this game myself, I was curious, what happened to my old favorite game? What happened to the company that made it? Why do they have a player count of just 13 active users? A once household name now became just a distant memory of what it once was or what it could have been. This is the rise and fall of Poptropica. Sorry for interrupting, just give me a second. At 200 subs, I announced that when I hit 225 subs, I'll open a Discord server. So here it is. This is the Karatic Empire server. Here, you can meet new people, get notified of my streams and new uploads, and even vote on what will happen and choose the next topic for videos. I'll even give you a shout out at the end of the video for your suggestion. Alright, back to it. While doing research and prepping for this video, I was really surprised that not many people are asking what happened to it. It really isn't a topic at all. After doing some digging, I found a shitty video by a small YouTuber called Sparks that was really outdated and just didn't answer any questions. It's been extraordinarily hard doing research for this video, and I wanted to make this video as good as possible. I mean, this game pretty much shaped my entire gaming journey. So I'm going to do everything I can to not only find the best information, but also I brought on the best editor I know. So go on, say hi.
What up, it's LividNNeon. That's pretty much all I have to say. I don't really want
For
to...
those of you who do not know what Poptropica is, let me explain. Poptropica is an online web game that was released in early 2007 as a Flash game and quickly became the staple of all Flash games. And it was different from any other rinse and repeat games at the time. It was a classic point and click game with different islands and had a ton of different puzzles. I remember my favorite 3 islands being Reality TV Island, Superhero Island, and Mythology Island. There were so many islands at the time, and it jump-started one of my old favorite YouTube channels, ThinkNoodles, who started his channel by making walkthrough videos. He gained thousands of subscribers, leading him to have a collective of over 10 million subs. As I began writing for the script, I was absolutely clueless. How do I show how big of an impact this game had on so many people's childhoods? How do I give this community justice? I am just one person that completed 10 out of the 41 different islands that were released by 2015. Simple answer, I can't. While doing research on this game and searching for people like me who miss it too, I found 2 servers that I'll be leaving down in the description below because they really helped me a lot. So I thought of finding others who had played Poptropica.
Poptropica, I discovered it when I was like 5 years old. I had just gotten on the internet, and it was back in 2007 when they were first launching the game. I actually discovered it through funbrain.com, which was an educational website back in the day, and it still exists today, but they were doing promotional stuff. Before the game even was launched, they were doing stuff to kind of get people excited about it, and when it launched, I checked it out because I thought it looked so cool. And for me as a kid who grew up without video game consoles, it was like my first experience with an adventure game of that scale and with that kind of style. I don't think that Flash being shut down was actually the reason why Poptropica failed. I think that is a misconception because they could have pivoted and they tried to unsuccessfully, but they really could have if they really did it right. I think that Poptropica's downfall was multifaceted. There were many things that went into the downfall. I think it started with Realms because Realms was their bid to try to get into the survival kind of world exploration building style game that was popular at the time and still is, like Roblox and Minecraft. They wanted a piece of that pie, but the simple fact was that Poptropica wasn't, as a game engine, it wasn't robust enough to really deliver like a satisfying experience. It was buggy. It wasn't built for that, right? And so that was their first real kind of, I'm not saying that it wasn't a success because people did like it, but it wasn't as big as they wanted it to be, and that was the first kind of nail in the coffin. Then they tried with Mystery the Map and the Mystery the Map series. They tried to kind of create like a franchise with a story and main characters and that kind of thing. And that failed because they were planning on doing a cartoon. They didn't get to do that. And I think the reason why was because it just wasn't engaging enough. It didn't connect with the fans like they wanted it to. It was just a little boring. Like, I'm not, like, no hate, no shade, but it was a little boring. But I think that Poptropica Worlds was the last kind of nail in the coffin because this was something they invested a lot of money into to redesign and redo this game engine with something that was kind of future-proofed, right? They wanted to just completely revamp Poptropica, and it flopped bad. So I think that was really, after that, they kind of stopped putting as much money. The last few islands that were released were they weren't bad. There was clearly effort put in, but they just didn't have the funding that they once had. And now we're here with Cool Math.
My first experience with Poptropica was seeing the ads all over the Funbrain games when I was at school, but I was unable to play it because the school computers had like blocked Poptropica for some reason. But my first impression was that it was going to be like this really fun game and it looked really interesting. So I went home and I got the game or I got it working because, home Wi-Fi. My first impression was like, wow, this is so fun. It's so cool. And I just honestly fell in love with the game. I think it would have to do with the financial application because they were trying to make a little bit more money off of it and they were trying to get games out or get islands out really quickly back in like late 2010s, like right before 2015 area. And this just kind of made the islands, half-assed and kind of not as intricate, but they did have good themes to it, such as Vampire's Curse. That could have been really great if you created more story to it. And then, of course, once they made that island Mock Tropica, I feel like that was really kind of the downfall because it really did show they were self-aware of the direction they were going. They were self-aware of what they were doing and how the game has ended. And they really should have just ended at Mock Tropica. But continuing, you really do see the game becoming a shell of itself.
Poptropica was a simple game. Read the text and learn what you need to do and click to move and solve different puzzles and then beat whatever boss you needed to beat. Growing up, Poptropica was the game to play. I remember when I first discovered this game, and as I played it and fought and struggled with even the easiest of islands like 64 Carat Island, I remember having a really good time. Now when I hop on, I'm easily able to beat the level in about 20 minutes. By just mindlessly playing. When I'm playing this game now, it literally tells me what I need to do. And there's no real challenge in finding out what you need to do. I'm also 21 years old and was, 7 when I first discovered this game. So I remember when I first discovered this game and it wasn't through playing games on other websites. It was of word of mouth. I remember sitting in my second grade class and a good friend of mine had told me about it. And at the time, I thought games were just something that were only on handheld consoles, which I didn't even consider as a device. I just thought of it as a toy. The first game I'd ever played was the Scooby-Doo game on a Game Boy Advance. When I discovered Poptropica, I thought it was a whole new world and thought it was cool. I have this vivid memory stuck in my head for some reason. When I first started playing this game, I chose the name Sleepy Thorns because I thought it was a really unique name.
Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe. What really makes me think is that I started playing this game in 2010 and I was just 7 years old at the time. This was 3 years before I started playing Minecraft, and this was 1 year after I was introduced to Pokemon after stealing my sister's DS. This game heavily influenced my viewpoints on games and had a major impact on my gaming journey. This game unlocked a brand new genre of games. It was more like something that I've never encountered in a game before. Let me correct myself. I have experienced puzzles in games like the Scooby-Doo game and Pokemon, but I just wandered around without even thinking. And I was able to get about a third of the way into those games with just wandering around. With Poptropica, it was all story reliant and puzzle based, and it forced me to actually think in a game. I had to pay attention to what I was reading and comprehend what I read. This game is the reason I continued gaming. While games like Minecraft helped me learn how to handle multiple things at a time, and Pokemon taught me how to build things up through strategy, this game taught me how to understand what a game is trying to tell me. For games that are really important, especially to me, I play games for the game mechanics, and for some games like FNAF, I play them for the lore. My viewpoint on games would be drastically different. I'd only be into games for the game mechanics, and I wouldn't be as heavily invested in FNAF as I am today. FNAF is one of my favorite game franchises. This channel could have turned out drastically different. Instead of wanting to tell a story of the games we play here on the channel, or telling the story of the evolution of games I like, or even the stupid things I do, I may have turned this into a gameplay channel, or I may not even have a channel at all, which is wild to me. Looking at Poptropica, it really shaped my gaming career more than I thought. I really had to look at what this game did for me. I am so thankful for this game. Looking at all the islands, they definitely have a special place in my heart. When picking my favorite of these islands, I knew I had a favorite 3 like I said earlier. Superhero Island, Mythology Island, and Reality TV Island. Thinking about which one was my favorite was really easy. Reality TV Island was my favorite for such a dumb reason, but one that hits really close to my heart. While playing this island, you have to get to this point where you get to compete on a game show. With the game show, you have 2 options. You either have to be perfect in every game and earn immunity and then sweep the entire show and beat the island, or you're in the middle ground and you get lucky enough to have no votes the entire time. It's tough because if you're too good, then you can get kicked out. And it was also a game of chance with fun mini games, and it reminded me of one of my favorite shows growing up. My favorite show was the Power Rangers TV show, but it reminded me of my second favorite childhood show. Now, no one really knows my second favorite childhood TV show. Not even the editor of this video really knows it. My second favorite childhood show was a show called Fetch with Ruff Ruffman. This island heavily reminds me of the show. I connected with it so well and remember wanting to compete on the show. And I thought this island was my training to be on the show. This game was major for my childhood. What happened in this game? When I went to play on this game recently, it led me to cool math games and I gagged. For me, cool math games went from a cool site at school to play really cheap games on to a site that's now a waste of a domain. Now, a game that shaped my view on games is now on cool math games. To truly form an opinion, I had to hear what others think. Why do they think Poptropica died? And to understand where Poptropica died, we have to understand where it came from. Poptropica was developed by Jeff Kinney and his team, and the devotion they put into the early islands was clear through the story and challenges they created. They put so much care behind this game, and it's very easy to see. In 2015, the game was sold to a company called Sandbox, and the game began to go downhill. Sandbox is why this game died. Sandbox limited this game immensely, trying to expand Poptropica further than it could have ever gone. They tried to make a Minecraft Terraria Roblox thingy, and the engine wasn't properly built for a mechanic like that, and it was an awful experience. They continued with Realms, which wasn't an awful experience, but it was still them trying to make it something it wasn't. The fall of Poptropica was because of one reason. They said, hey, let's see how far we can go, forgetting who is playing this game. Why are they playing this game? After going into the gaming industry, they were known as the point-and-click puzzle game. With all of the things they were trying to throw at it, their engine was pretty much lacking in every department since it wasn't properly designed to handle any of it. This, in turn, made the game feel more corporate than anything. When the game made zero progress and stopped producing new islands, now at this point the game was dead, but it was still playable. What really put the nail in the coffin for this game was the cancellation of Adobe Flash. When this happened, the game's only way to survive was through cool math games and Steam. When looking at the islands available on the Steam game that's $20, it's unremarkable. You have to pay $20 to play a small handful of islands when there are other ways to play these islands for free, like Flashpoint. If they kept the content with what the game was and put all their effort into making new islands, then the game would have survived and thrived for years and could have been big today. I would have loved to see this game still be a massive success, but just like everything, all good things must come to an end, and nothing stays gold. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to watch another video, click the video on the left. That's my Poppy Playtime video. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, click the button on the right. Thank you so much for watching and have a good one. Peace.